Very good afternoon to you and thanks for joining us on the Midday Brief here on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Nia Krofi Smartabe. Coming up in the headlines, to remove or not to remove, the fuel subsidy debate rages on, and we'll bring you updates on what some stakeholders think about the debate. Meanwhile, the Trades Union Congress has condemned the fuel price increase, and then also the Upper East private healthcare providers are threatening to withdraw health insurance services for non-payment of claims. We have these and wellness as well as briefs from across the world. Stay with us here on the Midday News. Now to our very first story. The Electoral Commission says it will investigate circumstances under which its returning officer at Savelugu in the northern region invited presiding officials to validate some unsigned pink sheets containing records of voting in the last election. Acting Public Affairs Director of the EC, Christian Owusu-Parry, told Joy FM's Super Morning Show today that the commission was in the process of inviting its officers who were arrested Sunday and later granted bail in respect of the case to Accra to explain their actions.
Christian Owusu-Parry said the commission was concerned that the officers involved did not exercise good judgment in their attempt to obtain post-facto signatures on the pink sheet, especially given that the outcome of the elections was being challenged in a court of law. The pink sheet contains records of the number of ballots issued at a polling station on voting day, the total number of votes, the ballot account, and the number of votes obtained by each candidate in an election. All pink sheets have to be signed by the presiding officer of the polling station. Sunday, the police in Savelugu arrested 3 EC officials for attempting to procure signatures to validate some pink sheets that were not signed by presiding officers at the close of polls in December last year. The arrest followed an alarm raised by supporters of the opposition New Patriotic Party, which is alleging fraud in the election.
Now, removal or maintenance of subsidies on fuel prices continue to form core basis for heated debate on platforms. This morning on Joy FM's Super Morning Show, NPA boss Alex Mould, policy analyst Bright Simmons, and IDEX Araba Opokujemfi tried reaching consensus on the fuel subsidy debate. Let's get some excerpts from their debate.
We have a market that is deregulated. It's the government that has set up the policy to trade. It's not a free market. When you issue your press releases, the impression you create is that there's a free market and that all you are doing is following the dictates of that free market. But it's not the truth. The truth is that you have set up how you license the BDCs, you create the policy environment and create the margins, etc., which allows them to make their decisions, how much to buy, how much to store, etc. So you're completely controlling the system. And therefore, when there are prices, you cannot get all of a sudden throw your hands up and say, look, it's an international pricing, let it feed through. It's not. It goes up. If you continue to have a system where you are completely regulating the market and controlling every single decision making, and they still tell us that it's international pricing, they will not accept it. That is the point that they continue to have with you. What do you say to that?
They have their point, but the point of the matter is simple. What price should we be paying for our fuel? And the price we should be paying for our fuel is the import parity price based on where most people buy the product from. And that product comes from Northwest Europe, and that's the pricing we use.
Okay, so now, all over the world, countries subsidize various things. People subsidize farmers, people subsidize various things.
Airlines.
Because they define a certain good.
Yeah, and prices definitely will be higher if government doesn't subsidize.
No, it will be high in the initial stages. But when you have a much more efficient industry, America, as I was saying,
and
America
that's the argument you've
managed to have a deregulated economy with $3.50 per gallon.
That's the argument you've been having with
a US gallon.
Does the price of fuel, has it become inflation indexed such that when we increase prices, psychologically people increase price of all every other thing? Even when it's not a matter of a product input, okay. Thirdly, is fuel required for an industrial policy in a country like Ghana where more and more people are using fuel for plastic?
Isn't it also going to pile up? Isn't it going to be the same situation? Why don't we just take off all the subsidies?
And aviate people still not benefiting?
You know?
Maybe I can answer that. I think the reason why this subsidy is there is that, like I said, government said they cannot afford the 2.4 billion. They can afford specific subsidies to specific areas, and this is why now we have the new price build up.
So that's my next question. What now we are down from 2.4 projection for this year to what?
Maybe about 450 million.
We cannot pass on the cost of liquidating that debt to poor Kayaye's walking around, because it's not their policy decision that led to this continuous situation.
Final question: what do we do to ensure that we don't come back to this conversation in the next 2, 3, 4 years? That we have to take off the subsidies.
Well, what MPA has suggested is MPA should be doing the review every 2 weeks and passing on the price increase or decrease to the consumer, and we will be doing that going forward.
Which is total deregulation.
But here we have sat down with the players to agree what the price should be. Total deregulation is that we will step out. There will be no intervention from government, no intervention from NPA on the pricing. The pricing formula will go away, and every individual who brings fuel into the country will be allowed to charge whatever price he wants for the price of fuel. That is full deregulation.
I think government should start thinking deeper into these issues instead of using the easy way out. I call it the easy way out. Just take off the subsidies or leave a little. We'll pay 400. You've taken 2 billion off, so you're paying 400 million now for the year. Well,
These were some guests on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM this morning debating the fuel subsidy. But let's move along. In a related development, passengers have reacted differently to the increment in fuel prices, which took effect Sunday morning. The increase in fares has been met with anger and frustration, with passengers complaining it has greatly inconvenienced them.
Traveling from Tema to Kwame Nkrumah Circle now cost 1 Ghana cedi 80 pesos, thus 30 pesos higher than it used to be. The fare from Tema to Kaneshie, which used to be 1 Ghana cedi 60 pesos, is now 2 cedis. At Cape Coast, Takrady and Takwa Station here at Kaneshie, transport fares to the various destinations have also seen an increment of between 1 and 2 Ghana cedis.
There were 9 cedis, and there were 10 cedis, and there were 11 cedis. But you see, 11 cedis, they call 13 cedis, and at 10 cedis, no call 12, 9 and 11 cedis. There are the 2 cedis are to be asked.
Some figure in Takwano 160, 16 cedis. That's 14 cedis air condition. And that's signed into pay for my in there. Sabi San what to petrol mutu yan die contrary 2 cedis out to do. And 16 cedis or air condition. Near air condition so 15 cedis. And the first tank 14 cedis, 15 cedis. They keep person so first in air condition 7 cedis. 6 year no 9 cedis. Now near air condition so 8 cedis.
Cape Coast and Takwa Station passengers were not pleased with the situation. They lamented they were blindsided with the new fares when they boarded vehicles this morning.
We did not really hear it on the radio, and you come to the station and you are told this is what's happening. At times you are not like prepared for this. It's not just happened, and then you have to, maybe you get to Takwa and you have to continue. You know, you end up, if you don't take care, you'll be stranded in Takwa.
I knew about the increment, but I didn't know it would take effect on transport today. I was expecting something like tomorrow going.
My job life because if you buy first normally 4,000, which is 40 pesos. Almost 4-5. Me say I had also want to petrol that ben. The mama me full and me full so I'm see 2 cedi.
Drivers have increased fares without authorization from union heads. They tell Joy News once they've bought fuel at a higher price today, they cannot continue accepting old fares. However, they claim they will comply when authorities bring out standardized fares.
So, almost the percentage in the banner says, "I go from a Bama go from a cost so a Bama cost so." Watching another chia, maybe I'll be going, or we are beginning.
Not all drivers are happily charging new fares, though. Drivers commuting Kaneshie and Russia clearly expressed their displeasure about their inability to increase fares. According to them, the Kaneshie-Russia union heads have not directed them to charge new fares, even though they have bought fuel at the current increased price. They told Joy News profit will elude them today.
Let's stay with the issue of fuel price increase a little bit and go to the central region, where fishermen have called on government to consider reviewing the prices of the fuel products. The fishermen say they are already grappling with high cost of living, which is leading to serious hardships. They added paying school fees for their wards is also having a toll on their finances, hence the need for government to intervene. The fishermen want government to, as a matter of urgency, review the fuel price to ease off the burden on the ordinary Ghanaian.
The man of our papa is a family go school there. I want man, yes, I born in Germany. We be corner. Oh, we see small. Oh, to put to more. I can maybe some papa.
Internet and 250 and 300. No, but all one. Your budget trend and 2.350. In she must have and a brazen. Never bandy banks and so 300,000 without the 350 and 3.400. No, so I know maybe try to net and say, Bunensi. What do you could do? Bunensi. It's a point in our gamma who trying to go a said I'm not bears. I'll be in a different pan now. Or more pain will have you. I can't I go we can bring Kubiara. Kubiara, Shani, when I put this up to West Magui. West Magui, and I'm not sure Queen Papa. And in just Saban and put to West Magui, I didn't become a man and feel and Jabi, man. You also come, you also crying, and the car could be dying. The put us with my widano. One however, Bangan bar, some sabun to magazine. One day, one home say a bar, you could take me a comment to a Sabalang, the support to my view come by Diana. I will become for me.
This year, we are not being easy. We are much man. Oh, yeah, maybe we can put a green group. Put in some one room, I want to do my name, Papa.
Still some more reactions to the fuel price increase, and the Trades Union Congress has condemned the withdrawal of fuel subsidies. It says, quote, what we have been protesting against is the total removal of subsidies, which leads to hikes in fuel prices with ripple effects throughout the economy.
This was contained in the TUC's proposals to the government on the 2013 Budget Statement and Economic Policy, which was released at the time of the withdrawal of some subsidies on petroleum products. The Secretary-General of the TUC, Kofi Asamoah, told the Daily Graphic that the submissions in the proposal, though coincidental to the fuel price hikes, were the general position of the Labour Union. However, he noted that the specific increases announced on Saturday, February 16, 2013, would be discussed in the course of the week. The TUC noted in the proposals that subsidies were an important tool for curbing the spillover effects petroleum prices had on a wide range of goods and services, saying subsidies were used by all governments, including the current one, to mitigate the negative effects of petroleum price hikes on the vast majority of Ghanaians who earned very low incomes or had no incomes at all. It therefore urged the government to take into account the needs of the millions of Ghanaians living in poverty. We would like to serve notice that the magnitude of fuel price adjustments will inform our demands for pay increase for the working people of Ghana. We need genuine consultations on fuel pricing in Ghana, it said. The proposals to the government, titled, "It is time for genuine social dialogue on economic policy in Ghana," while commending the government for inviting suggestions in the preparation of the budget and incorporating some, noted the absence of no genuine dialogue between the government and stakeholders, including unions and employers, in economic policy. The TUC said the distinctive nature of the country's economic policy had not changed in the past 3 decades, despite resistance to some of them by trade unions and other civil society organizations.
You're still watching the Midday Brief here on Joy News on Multi TV. We take a quick breather. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
While the rest of the scheme have been paid for August fully, most facilities have not been able to pay workers for between 2 to 3 months.
However, the Upper East Regional Manager of the NHIA, Roger Ayeni Apos, says the private health facilities will receive their monies next week.
Authorities at the Cape Coast Metropolitan Hospital may be compelled to close down the facility if no funds are immediately released for its day-to-day operations. The hospital is broke because the National Health Insurance Authority has still not paid claims spanning over 7 months, while suppliers of the hospital keep putting pressure on authorities for their money. Correspondent Richard Kojinyako reported the building housing the hospital is gradually wearing down. Medical Superintendent of the hospital, Dr. G.G. Demenya, told Joy News the NHIA owes the hospital about 600,000 Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, the presidency will today hold a crunch meeting with the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, GOSPA, over the pharmacist-intended nationwide strike scheduled to begin on February 22. This would be followed by a meeting with the National Labour Commission on Wednesday. We'll follow this development and we'll bring you details as and when we get them. A 31-year-old man who wants to become a medical doctor hinges on his performance at this year's examinations. No, not at the medical school, but at the basic education certificate examinations. Musa Al-Hassan, a father of 2, says nothing will prevent him from achieving his goals. The 31-year-old final year student of the Iman Islamic Junior High School at Idretia in the Fija-Kwabre district of the Ashanti region is eagerly looking forward to passing the first step towards realizing his dream. Here's a report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin. Musa Al-Hassan's house is an hour's walk away from his school. He should have written his Basic Education Certificate Examinations, BEC, by now, but he had to repeat a class. That was due to poor academic performance last year, and this is because Musa is exhausted by the time he gets home. But the distance will not be much of a bother anymore, as his newly acquired bicycle catch short the travel time from his house at Binim to his school at Idretia. And although he does not earn much from his work, Musa is bent on investing his last peswa in achieving his dream. His teachers admire his contributions in class, and his English tutor, for instance, says he has made marked improvement in the subject.
He's been with the school for 5 years now. He's an Arabic teacher, and he came to teach Arabic. And as a result, he wants to get something about formal education. So he started with our student right from P5. Now he's a final year student in JSS 3. And he was even to register last year, but the performance was not encouraging. So he realized that when he gets one additional year, he'll be able to cope with the BEC. That is why he's now in Form 3. Last year he used to fort. He was not regular in school. He used to come to school on foot. He was not having bicycle, and he wanted to improve his performance. So this time around he has a bicycle, which he comes to school with it always. So now I think the performance is better and he can now ride the BEC.
But the teachers are not the only ones impressed with Musa's conduct. His colleague students also had some nice things to say about him. Musa says he's all fired up for this year's BEC, but most importantly, he wants to leave behind a good legacy for his family.
I want to be to prefer my education. If you don't get education, you don't know anything. So that I have the 2 children, and the way I have to need to feed them before I come to school is a problem to me. But if you not get education, you cannot do anything. So that I want to try myself to educate and get to be a doctor in future.
His advice to Ghanaians, both young and old, is to take education serious, as it is the only means by which they can succeed in life.
My brothers are laughing at me, but I try myself to show my concern at the education side. Colleagues to become school and learn more, but there's some people have knowledge, but they don't know how to use in future. But if you come to school and do small things, you will get money to certify yourself.
Musa Al-Hassan says he will prove to his younger colleagues that age is nothing but a number. And whilst that may be true, we also want to wish Musa Al-Hassan the very best at the BECE. Well, all the best, Musa, and I do hope that his dreams come true. Well, as contractors work around the clock to ease traffic congestion on the Medina-Adenta highway, traders at Medina are gradually finding their way onto the streets. Although their move puts them in harm's way, the traders are refusing to go back to the main market. Yafuswa Jemfi visited the place and reports.
In spite of persistent calls from the public for the traders to move to the main Medina markets, the traders remain adamant. Some traders have even gone the extra mile to set up right on the streets. The increase in the number of traders by the roadside is partly due to the patronage they enjoy from customers who find it convenient to buy from the street side. But the traders also say there is no space in the market for them to trade.
Yeah, buy na baby ya brubeningu. Na market what there be no baby a omotena because of yan ye wakwan nti no so abeka ye ho wakwan no wa. Nti sanka omu kwo a na yan so wa baby amayen a aka ye no so wa.
Yes ye kwa samampo mo ko market ye kwa so samampo net wo. Ye ko nyi roje nya. Yes adent ye ko pri ya ye tebru nya ka ho. Aba se yan ko wianye ma ko squad na se yan ko ye janye ma didi. Na pam na mo dwaso. Ya bre yani be abi kwa
enti hanma o ye ni ba bia ye de ye ko omusi ye nko nsamampom ozo se be ko de agi so mu yi market ye ne ye market anmu nyina ye de ko home.
There are yet others who consider trading by the roadside is dangerous, but they want to continue in the short term whilst they find permanent places to sell.
Na hanu omutunya yenye baby e beton ade be inside one obi me say me ni kwan wo inside amekwa akoton ade ho mu wie kwan no mu kire baby enton ade de a ene mekwa akotena baby a mu ade ama yese enton ade me metena kwan no biem nti o kire baby enkotena wa ene me ntumi ye de e metena kwan no biem.
But drivers who ply the Medina route are not happy.
Ya no masha na nkasa ama ye ho kire unya baby anjina ana ujina baby ese ubefa nipa wanye obi a wofa na police phone so ahye na adwadifo no so age kwan ni nyina aboso enti ama ye find it difficult bi ni sesisi ama pa ho kakra ama ba be gina manimu ai enye ize se menya obi a mefa no na mmom dwadifo no na ese omo bo omo nso na omo timi nya baby separate se on market. Since
these traders would have to earn a living, perhaps there is the need for the local assembly to consider expanding the existing market to contain the growing number of traders or move the market to a new location altogether so as to avoid needless deaths.
Well, you're still watching the midday news here on Joy News on Multi TV, and our news team has pitched camp at the Kaneshi station here in Accra to gauge passengers and drivers' reaction to the fuel price increase, which has also led to transport fare increases. So let's go right now straight to the Kaneshi station to find out what our news team has gathered so far and what they are up to, particularly as regards the transport price increases. Quick break, we'll return shortly, and hopefully our challenge would have been sorted. Then we can give you live visuals and a report from the Kaneshi station here in Accra. Stay with us. Okay, now let's go back to Kaneshi station where my colleague Patricia Osei is standing by to speak to some passengers and drivers as well about the fuel price increase and the transport fares increase as well.
I mean to me as I say okay, that's na mates mbese mi ho I didn't know what you just can answer na car name move.
Yes, I tell me I know money ko okay nim say ya akron for yibu om.
Omone wo ko saying say e 1 CD 30 pesos in so kwa bembium.
Say wo monti ase so.
First no mo jeje saying.
Yeah, 1 CD.
It's added na fe the 1 CD 30 pesos.
Say CC I want to 2 BBM into no station masters for so na the price na ba. Into yes answer I am so ya be boka.
Mo be boka. Na ebi no ma e 1 CD 20 pesos. It's added na wo de ne
yet. Say eso no baby bi ko Medina. Ebi nso ko adenta, ebi nso ko estate. So, why?
Okay. Like you heard, we spoke to Esther, who is a passenger at first, and she says it is 1 CD 30 pesos now. She has no other option to pay. It's also and the cedi 30 pesos. They can't take 1 cedi 20 pesos. That is why they are taking the money before the car moves to Adenta. Okay, we are moving on to talk to some other drivers and mates and passengers around here. Okay, mates, Pastor, okay,
Adenta.
What you saying? Bookman. Okay, we are being directed to the bookman at the station. Okay, but your friend may part now.
With Michael.
Michael, Pastor, catch it. So say if we are quite then, what you saying?
Okay, it's 1 cedi 30 pesos.
Now first, next
1 cedi.
I think na 30 pesos na more there too.
Okay. I would say that because of the price of the fuel now, okay, the margin that they put on the fuel, if we say we are going to take 1 cedi, we are going to lose.
No, you can take 1 cedi 20 pesos or 1 cedi 10 pesos. That is what some people are doing.
We didn't put the price on it ourselves.
Where did you get the prices from?
From the GPRTU. We are under the GPRTU. So they gave us the price that we are supposed to take.
Now passengers are complaining. What can you do about that?
For the complaint, it's going to go on until they accept it. You know, yeah. So for the complaining, we are not going to compromise because of the complaining. If not, we will lose. Yeah. So that's.
Thank you very much, Michael. Like you heard, Michael, we passengers would have to complain for some time because there's nothing they can do about it. They can't compromise. We have to pay 1 cedi 30 pesos from Circle to Adenta. And there's another man here, Pacho. Your friend was saying?
Your friend called you Kranti.
Pacho, now you're driver now.
Yeah, driver any penny crowd. Yeah.
Pacho, if we are I don't know 1 cedi 30 pesos.
Oh, okay. Tama, what to petrol no so. In fact, koto impromptu, and I say impromptu the maye. Until I say, price na yet to be I told this best say 800,000. Yakoto no, oh, do you mind to be found pong? Just say to 1 million. Until you have for an ACI, near says, and to the Enfa way, and to Society at the Chia, if it not to petrol bill. Until they are got 2 emperor in Funanim. No, yes, okay, you find yes, sir. Now one Casabishia, no, the price no, I bray.
So, no, the price now, Brem, almost 130.
130, and said, this is an issue I eternal. A boy and came to me for Yampong. So I did I say this can be count? They say, auto 800, so to 1 million. Answer it to me to Wapong.
It is a coba, Omukoshia. To me, say, Becosrana, a beba phone.
The price beyond the brain behind the episode.
Okay, that was the driver, head of drivers over here. According to him, he's the head of drivers over here. And like he said, the organizers would have to meet to bring out a fixed price. But for now they will only have to take 1 cedi 30 pesos. If they come back, then they'll know what to do. Thank you very much. We are moving to other station here at the Circle congestion station to find out how passengers are coping with the new transportation fare that they have and how mates are coping with their passengers. Okay, now we are in another car which is going to Medina, and we want to find out from the passengers how much they are taking now. Okay, so say, your friend me Patricia na say.
Your friend me Moses for Sujabo.
Pacho, catch me first. No, if we are come Medina, no, you just say.
No, 80 pesos.
80 pesos, and then almost the same.
1 cedi.
1 cedi. It was saying, Neboya would do a cool mouth.
Oh, certainly they said because of the increase of the fuel and intino. Honest want to be met Yajuma bra or on fast can be into 20 and they are normal.
It's a normal price now. This woman over here thinks that it should be 10 pesos and not 20 pesos, while the other man says it is normal. Thank you.
One minute.
Yeah. Again, this car is actually taking the money from passengers before they move.
Fast. Go inside. Go inside. Enter. Go inside.
Okay, now, so we've been coming to you live from Circle Kaneshi Station, and you've been hearing from both passengers, drivers, and mates that they're hoping. For some people, it's normal. For others, they think it's just too much. And for them, some of the drivers, for them, there's nothing they can do about it. So passengers would have to cope. As for the quarrel, they would have to quarrel for some time, but it will all come to an end very, very soon because they are going to get used to it, according to some drivers. Thank you. Smart, handing over to you. Take over.
Okay, thank you very much, Patricia, for that interesting conversation with drivers and mates at the Kaneshi station here in Accra. Of course, like she said, the arguments will continue, the battles will rage until the GPRTU comes out with the official prices for drivers to charge. But we'll be following that, and of course, as and when the GPRTU announces new transport fares, we'll bring you that here on Joy News. But let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to continue with the Midday Brief. This is still the Midday Brief here on Joy News on Multi TV, and you haven't seen a tag team on this bulletin in a while. My partner in crime is here. JJ, hello, welcome.
Hello, Smart.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
The vetting split us and everything, so okay. So, well, she's here, so it means she's taking care of wellness and the brief. So, JJ, I hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Now, Joy News brings you the most interesting things every single time something unusual happens. One of them is the occurrence of Siamese twins. Just to keep you updated with what's happening, let's tell you a little bit about the science of Siamese twins. Now, occur in roughly 1 in every 200 identical twin pregnancies, and they are always identical. The actual numbers for conjoined births vary from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 100,000 pregnancies, and 40 to 60% are stillborn, with others dying within the first few days after birth. Now, about 70% of conjoined twins are female, the reason for which is unknown. So we just showed you the story of the science of conjoined twins, or Siamese twins as they are called. Let's move into the international world, where we have 7 foreign workers seized and a security guard shot dead by gunmen who attacked a construction company site in northern Nigeria. And many BBC journalists have gone on strike for 24 hours over a dispute over compulsory redundancies. We have this and many other stories in our international brief. And a little sports. Liverpool ended a 5-match winless run in style with a dominant display over a weakened Swansea City. Steven Gerrard's penalty set Liverpool on their way when Kemi Augustin was ruled to have brought down Luis Suarez. Now Suarez then released Felipe Coutinho for his first Liverpool goal before Jose Enrique finished a flowing move. Okay, we take our showbiz now, where the rumor mill is up and running. Yes, the rumor mill has it that Chris Brown and Rihanna will soon be performing live in Ghana. Also, Amake Abrebese has won the African Film Personality Award, and Argo is still winning awards ahead of the Oscars. We have all of this plus a little more shine in our showbiz brief. Well, that's all we have for you by way of showbiz. I'll hand you back to Smart for the rest of the heavy news.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, let's do some international business now. And Japanese shares have risen after finance ministers of the G20 group of nations avoided singling out Japan for criticism over the recent yen weakness. The yen has dipped nearly 15% against the US dollar since November amid Japan's efforts to stoke inflation. There were concerns that a criticism from G20 may prompt Japan to alter its aggressive stance. And that's it for the bulletin. But before we go, a second look at our headlines. To remove or not to remove, that's the debate that's raging over the fuel subsidy, and we brought you some stakeholders' views on that as well. Meanwhile, the Trades Union Congress has condemned the fuel price increase, and in the Upper East region, private healthcare providers have threatened to withdraw health insurance services for non-payment of claims. We have more news for you at 8 o'clock. Join us then.